Why don't we have cowboy hats? We should be. You go get it. We should start the live outside with all the donkeys next time. So hello, there's still nobody watching, so you're listening to talking about absolutely
Hello,
nothing.
everyone.
2 people.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday, everybody. We are here to talk about horses and CBD.
That's right.
Cannabis.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Hello, Samantha.
Hi,
Price.
Sam.
I know we're not talking about dogs today, but let's just show Blanche anyway.
We haven't shown you Blanche in a while, have we?
Yeah, she's
last week.
always Blanche.
It's funny because when Happy Hour happens, it always is Blanche who's like, hey,
Well,
hi.
duh, because she's perfect.
Hello.
This is 10-year-old Blanche.
She's 10?
She's
Nice.
10 this year.
In
May, so I'm trying to say 10 now. She's the love of my life and the most useless, perfect dog I've ever met. Ever.
But today we're talking horses, and we're excited about it. Let's make sure no more music starts. No more bad music.
Cool. Yeah, we're so excited to be talking about horses, using cannabis, CBD. Did you turn it on again? Oh, great. And we're going to be having an amazing guest today, Dr. Sarah Urban. She is one of your favorite vets.
She is.
Who happens to work with horses a lot and is a holistic vet. She's actually Billy Hopeman's vet from Answers Pet Food. If that doesn't tell you something.
It's basically another one of these fantastic young vets who get out of school and know that there's more than that. You know, there's more than out there to help heal our animals. And then they go educate themselves and learn. And this is all on their own. So as you know, as I always say on my podcast, till people are probably tired of me hearing it, but those are my favorite kind of vets, those integrative, alternative, holistic vets that understand that, you know, writing a prescription drug isn't the answer to everything. As a matter of fact, today, usually Fridays is when I record my podcast. It's a Dog's Life, which listen sometime.
Yes,
it's fabulous. But today I finally got one of my favorite vets to come on the podcast. He doesn't really like to do these things. And for the past, it's Dr. Paul Rowan and Center for Animal Healing in Virginia Beach, I believe it is. And he'll probably never see this, so it doesn't matter that I call him one of my favorites. But I got to interview him finally today on my podcast. And for the past 23 years, he has not written a single prescription for a drug. He uses all alternative, holistic, and natural remedies to help his patients. And he started as a conventional doctor and realized that the drugs and the food he was told that would work wasn't working, and went out and sought, you know, how to help these animals. Actually helped himself first through chiropractic care. And that's when he knew, kind of like how I discovered cannabis.
Yeah.
Is, you know, all of these wonderful natural things are being kept from us. So pretty cool. For 23 years, he's still in practice, and he's never written a prescription or used a drug to help his animals.
That podcast will be up sometime next week. So make sure, if you're not signed up to our email newsletters, to sign up, which, speaking of reasons why you should sign up to our email newsletters today, is that we are going to give away one of our beautiful horse tinctures. These are a pretty penny for a free prize, I'll tell you. So if you want one of these guys, Ingu. Oh yeah, this guy's got 6,000 milligrams of full spectrum CBD with frankincense and turmeric. That guy's also 6,000 milligrams of CBD with lavender essential oil.
Which we're already using this one because it's gooey all over.
And this one is just 10,000 milligrams of full spectrum CBD, hemp seed oil, and MCT. So
if you are a dog parent, we've got a lot of dog parents buying who have dogs with cancer. We have them buying the Horses because it has 1 dropper is 50 milligrams of full spectrum hemp extract and has the turmeric and frankincense in it also. So we've got a couple of smart people out there who figured that out. So good for you.
Yay. So if you want to win, we just posted, you got to sign up to our email newsletter. You have to share this feed. And if you tag friends, you will have extra chances of winning one of these amazing products. So
yeah, horses.
Horses.
So, you know, when we went to the University of Vermont, of course, just like our dogs, horses have an endocannabinoid system, and it is, you know, oversees all of their other systems. And some of the most common things that horses suffer from can be helped with a full spectrum hemp extract. And so we've had a lot of people using our dog products on the horses. So horses are bigger animals. Usually people have multiple horses. So doing a more potent tincture and a larger bottle was important. But my first experience personally with horses or with donkeys, with equine, is my neighbor next door has rescued cows and donkeys and goats, chickens, and I help him all the time. And his donkey Gus, who of course was my favorite donkey, got sick. And I actually didn't know about it until he texted me, because the vet was there about to put Gus down because Gus had a terrible case of colic. Hadn't had a bowel movement, I think like in 2 or 3 days. And she was going to put him down. And he happened to text me and said, "Hey, this is what's going on. Can you help?" Because, you know, I'm the crazy cannabis lady that lives next door. So anytime someone says, "Can cannabis help?" my answer is yes. Why is it always going to help? Because I know it's going to immediately give the animal peace. It's going to take away the stress and anxiety and the pain. So I know immediately it's going to help. I didn't in a million years think that I'd bring the donkey back to life. So we ran over there. We put the tincture, the heel tincture, 3 doses. I always go crazy when it's a life-threatening situation. Sometimes I pour the bottle. I get so crazy. But we did 3 full droppers, and he sat up, and then he stood up. And I want to say about 2 hours later, had a bowel movement. And to this day, that was over a year ago, which is really funny because we forgot. I didn't look at the date, but it happened to be right around when we released the horse products.
Yep.
So I was like, oh my gosh, this is a year ago that this happened with Gus. So yep, me and Gus.
Is Gus. Cutie Gus.
Every time I drive by him, I'm like, I saved your life. So it's kind of funny to watch a vet just kind of stand there in amazement. But you have to understand that all that full spectrum hemp extract is doing is supporting the animal's immune system to help them fight off whatever is hurting them, killing them, you know, whatever it is, disease. So that's all we're doing. So my intention was to get rid of any pain and suffering, and instead I supported his endocannabinoid system that then got him up and allowed him to make a bowel movement and be okay.
Yeah. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, maybe learning about cannabis for your horse, and we keep mentioning this endocannabinoid system thing, which I will put up here again. This is found in every animal body, all of us, including ourselves, and it regulates homeostasis. It regulates every
other system in the body.
So
if your digestive system is off, the endocannabinoid system is responsible for bringing it back to homeostasis. So if your endocannabinoid system is not working, that means all other systems can get off if you don't do something about it. So to me, it's the most important system. That's why it's so crazy that nobody is taught about it in medical school.
Well, for a good reason, but
because it's the system that interacts with this marvelous plant called the cannabis plant.
Yeah, so the cannabis plant and other amazing plant medicines out there interact by almost recreating the same natural endogenous compounds. Cannabinoids, thank you. Hi, I can't speak today. So it's basically like a lock and key, and it really interacts with our body by inflammation. It talks to our brain to help relieve pain management. There's receptors in the gut, so anything gut-like colic problems, it's going to help with anxiety, everything, because it interacts with our entire body.
And horses are so prone to stress and anxiety, of course, to arthritis because of their limbs and weight, and of Cushing's and of these colic. Colic is any of these upset in the digestive and the colon and their stomach. It could be any problem. And all my horse people I talk to say it's ulcers, it's stomach ulcers. And of course, we always make the correlation of, the biggest problems with dogs have to do with their food. So I wonder if the same thing holds true for horses. And guess what? Yeah. It does. That's why I wrote no grain behind me somewhere. There it is. Because of course, horses are supposed to be running around free. Can't remember if I've said this before, but when horses or dogs or animals, any of these animals that love to run, when they run, their endogenous cannabinoids are being produced when they run. It's called a runner's high. So people who run and they have a runner's high, that's what's happening, is that they're producing their own endocannabinoids, anandamide, which makes them feel really good and happy, and that's why it's called a runner's high. So imagine taking that away from a horse who's supposed to be running around, grazing, continuously eating, which then lines their stomach, but instead they're kept in stables, they're stressed, they're bored, they're eating incorrectly, they're eating the wrong thing, and they get these horrible stomach ulcers. And CBD, full spectrum hemp extract, does everything from help the lining of the stomach to stop the production of these gastric fluids, acids.
It actually helps reduce secretion of the gastric acid, and it helps blood flow go to the stomach lining, and then of course inflammation. So when it comes to that, it's pretty amazing.
Right, but again, it's one of those things that it's going to, like in Gus's situation, save his life, or it's going to help your horse, but you have to change their diet or look at how they're eating, because just like dogs, it's the root cause of most of their problems, especially the stomach ulcers, which, you know, I've had several vets. We just read something else that said 90% of horses are suffering from some sort of stomach ulcer situation, which is crazy. So CBD, a full spectrum hemp extract, is wonderful for them, from any stomach, colon, digestive issue at all.
Yeah, and you know, we're still in early stages, of course, of research. We have plenty of research for humans and dogs and everything. What we need to understand is all this research works for all of us because we all have the same endocannabinoid system. But there has been research now done on horses. There's one particularly that I'm sharing now done by LSU that proved its safety. They were trying to see if there's any signs of ataxia or anything going on, any adverse reactions. There were none. A&M University right now is doing another really great one to see how it helps with things like inflammation, which we already know is going to happen, and they're having great results already. So there is research being conducted, and of course there's anecdotal evidence out there of some amazing stories.
No, we hear it all the time. Yeah. So to us, we're like, yes, I'm sure there's going to be research. Let's find it. Yeah. But we already know because we've been doing it on a regular basis.
I actually have one of our amazing vets that we work with, Dr. Diane Wagner. She only works with horses out in Colorado. She's a holistic vet. She's incredible. We've been working with her a lot. And she said, I recommended topical CBD oil for a client's horse who has melanoma under her tail. I saw her on Saturday, and the melanomas have broken open and are extruding the black melanin cells. This is fabulous.
So understand that horses, or any equine, cows, all of them are outside most of the time in the sun. Bugs, scratches, bug bites, injuries. Horses also fight with each other a lot. So, you know, an unchecked injury can get infected. But gray and white horses get melanoma like crazy. And one of our salves on it, we're doing remedy on it.
Yes.
And it's literally like 24 hours and they start bursting open, which I know we have some disgusting pictures to show you.
I know.
Because it's extra gross, because it usually happens on their butts or around their butts. So this is a really big melanoma tumor on a
If you're
horse.
squeamish, I wouldn't look because
Yep.
I'm squeamish and I have
Yes,
to look.
away. I'm fascinated. I've watched more tumors ooze and explode than you can imagine with the help of a full spectrum hemp extract. So they don't bother me as much anymore. So you can barely tell what we're looking at, but that whole black mass is the horse's butt. Under the pink is actually the opening of the rectum, but that's a huge mass. And if we go to the next one, next picture, that's it gone and exploded. So it literally oozes black melon. And it's really gross and weird, but it's amazing how fast it happens and how well it works. So the moment you see it pop up, it's something you can put the salve, and like I do, like to put the tincture in the mouth on the gums, just like we do our dogs, and the salve right on it.
Yeah, and we do have right now the dog version, which can be used on horses. It's just a smaller version of Remedy that we're talking about, but we are releasing a larger, much more potent for horses, so stay tuned for
we
that.
Are. And don't we have a special guest to talk a little bit more about
We do have a
horses?
special guest.
I can see a little miniature her over there in the corner.
She's so cute.
Waiting in the green room.
Waiting in the green room. So if you're just tuning in now, we are about to bring in one of our favorite vets, if not Angie's favorite vet, Dr. Sarah Urban. Welcome.
Welcome. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, doing okay. Dealing with snow.
Do you know what the temperature is here today?
I don't want to. Well, you guys are in like short sleeves, so like 70?
81.
Ah.
81 degrees today. We're like air conditioning on. So we look forward to having you here. Hopefully the weather will be nice when you get here.
I know. Hopefully. I keep
We're
my
talking
fingers
all
crossed.
about we're talking all about horses, as you know.
Yeah, I've been listening. Yeah.
Well, tell them a little bit about yourself, just for an introduction. We did post our website as well.
Okay. Yeah. So I am an integrative vet. That's what I would be considered. And so what that kind of means is I blend both the Eastern and Western world of veterinary medicine. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. And so I bring in both factors of when we're thinking Eastern medicine or alternative or holistic. So I get to use all of that that's in my toolbox. But then at the same time, like if it's a dire crisis or emergency and I need drugs to treat, I can still use and go to that toolbox to grab emergency things. Mm-hmm. So they blend really beautifully together. So I practice here in Pennsylvania right now. Close to Gettysburg, Lancaster area. So I'm a mixed animal. So I do go out, I see horses. I do a lot of chiropractic, acupuncture, kind of taking a look at diet as well. But then I also work with small animal too.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. So I know that you have experienced probably a lot of horses with stomach ulcers and colic and issues like that. What do you think it's attributed to?
I think it's a combo. So if our horses are more domesticated than they were, coming from more of a wild situation. So they're used to traveling miles and miles and miles a day. And so now if we are, let's say, a high stress training environment, they're in a show facility, a race barn, they might not even get any turnout time. Their time out is either on the track running, breezing, getting conditioned. They might only go out for less than an hour a day. So without any of the rigors of training, you just took them out of their completely natural environment. A lot of the diets, I find it's just you're spinning the wheel different ways, so we follow a lot on the diets for small animal versus large. So a lot of the byproducts that are made for humans got to go somewhere. And so some of it goes into our large animal feed system. Might not be the best product, high sugar, which is just going to speed up inflammation, cause GI ulcerations in horses. But there's so many other things just set up in the barn, environmental, hay that has a lot of dust and molds, and there's so much for our horses.
Yeah, so they're, to me, I think a perfect candidate for full spectrum hemp extract. And I know you agree. What are some of the most common things that you would treat animals with, or horses with, or equine with?
Yeah. I think the two biggest things would either be anxiety, like stress, going to a horse show. So starting pony club, the 4-H, maybe they're training a horse that came off the racetrack, and just taking them from a level that they can't concentrate to just bringing it down a level. And then I definitely would say anything that is soreness, pain, arthritic, recovery. That's where I get asked a lot about what can I use that for that purpose.
Yeah, lameness.
Yeah.
So like things like laminitis, I've been reading a lot about, and desmitis, like these like painful situations that could otherwise be used. People use NSAIDs or painkillers. This is a great way to at least keep them comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
and another contributor to stomach ulcers is the NSAID. So instead, use a full spectrum hemp extract, and it'll only help them with no awful side effects.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
So, what have you? I know I just asked you what you used it for. So what are your? Did you have any really good success stories? I mean, what I love about the salves is that literally you can put a salve on a cancerous tumor or melanoma, and 24 hours come back and go, it looks different.
Yeah, yeah. I really feel like a lot of the topical, I have seen really good success with that. Unfortunately, sometimes when we get to using the topical, they've already gone the oncology route, especially down in Florida or some more of the sun's like high sun areas. You're going to get squamous cell carcinomas. So that's really prevalent in the melanomas. And those can be hard to treat because they like to go in areas that are not accessible, either for surgery. And then some other, creams might not be safe around the eyes. And then you always worry about the other animals like licking it off, stuff like that. And some of this stuff's dangerous for humans to handle when we're starting to deal with some of the there's some inserts that you can put in these tumors that kind of help break down the tumors. It's not great to be kind of handling or brushing the animal or touching that area, So that's why I like a lot of the creams and topicals. I've had good luck with that. And then orally, a lot of just anxiety, based, just pretty quick. If we're working on horses, we just need to calm them down. I can put a little bit in, and that's nice because the owners will be like, "What are you using?" And then the horses just chill. So it's doing more of the arthritic pain. And that I tell owners, you need to be using it here for a couple of days and make sure you're not hovering over your horse with anxiety, but they tend to really respond well to that as well.
We've had wonderful experience with horses liking the taste of it, taking it, especially whether they'll lick it right out of the palm or they'll be okay after they taste it for you to put it right into their mouth in their little space.
Yeah.
So I feel like they like it. I think that my biggest reservation was when using the Calm tincture for a horse that's easily spooked, that someone is riding. And I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. Is the horse going to be like, yeah, I don't feel like doing this anymore. What are they going to do? But I've had wonderful results from owners saying, yeah, it's beautiful. It just removes the fear. So if we walked by this pasture and there's a sculpture there that freaks my horse out, they're no longer freaked out. So we've had great response from the Calm tincture also, just kind of keeping that edge off, because I think there's nothing scarier than being on a horse that's easily spooked. That's not something that you want. So I thought that was really good news.
Well, what do you say to a pet parent who's new to cannabis, who's scared of using it for their horse? There's not enough research. Is this going to harm my horse? Why don't I just use these prescription medications?
Yeah, I think everything that we use, especially from, when we look at pharmaceutical meds, they all are going to have a side effect. That's going to be one of the big things. You know, a lot of the narcotic base that we use more in small animal, we see that dumbed down nervous system, they're ataxic in the hind end. I don't want to make them worse than where they are now, because the injury increases. So if their nervous system isn't inept to little changes and they start stumbling or falling, that's not good on a pharmaceutical drug. You know, when we're using CBD, we're just using what's already innate in their body. You know, they're missing it because their environment is disrupted, or they're not being given the right things to create those receptors and respond, you know. So that's, you know, I always try to do no harm. Let's use what is innate in this animal's body and go from there. That's
very cool.
That's awesome. I'm stealing that, and we're going to promote that section
because that is totally what we're doing.
I know. Yeah. It's amazing. And also, people watching with horses, it's also an amazing thing to use preventatively. So really consider using this as an inflammation-based product to help your horse as they get older. So,
what age is as a horse considered a senior?
It depends. I usually will say if they're in good condition, because it's sort of like if they were worn out with high competition at early age, they're going to age a lot sooner, usually around 20, 25. But if you look at some of these European horses, they're competing at top level dressage shows. They don't get to the Grand Prix level until 18, 19 sometimes. Wow. But their mentality of how they handle them is different. They don't start them till later. They get to live outside. So they age a little bit slower.
Well, that's interesting because, you know, I always say every senior person and animal should be on a full spectrum hemp extract. It helps with all of our age degenerative shit. So take it.
We have a question. It's really interesting. So we actually deal with a lot of Cushing's our way when it comes to dogs. And it's probably been our most successful, other than like arthritis and seizures ailment coming along, because it helps the hormonal balance and it can sort of get tumors directly. And now, you know, we're starting to get a lot of calls about it in horses as well. So I'm so glad this person asked. Susan K. Robinson said, I have a 25-year-old Arabian gelding with Cushing's. He's stabilized on Prasend, but I would love to give him the CBD heal. Any thoughts?
I would try it.
Yeah,
it's not gonna hurt. I think it's gonna do well, because I feel like a lot of these horses, you know, the cannabinoid system, they're missing these, you know, they're missing things in the diet. Even with using drugs, there's always, you know, the carrier molecules. When it goes in, you get the drug, but you're also going to be messing up other things, other balances in the body. A lot of times when we're dealing with that with a pituitary-based tumor, you know, it's going to be changing how the brain is synapsing with everything and then descending down. You know, with horses, sometimes they get a shaggy coat, they get the thriftiness, they lose weight, they're drinking more, they're peeing more. And I think the biggest thing with Cushing's is they ache. They just don't feel good. You know, you know, they can get crabby. Their joints kind of just ache. The tendons, ligaments become thinner. So it's going to help with all of those things. I mean, we looked at that map, you know, with the horse, and it's going to hit all of those targets. So
yeah. And here's what she's talking about there, the endocannabinoid system. Yeah, like we said, we're getting so much success on it, and we actually are planning on doing our own study on it with a whole bunch of vets that I'll talk to you about, specifically on Cushing's, because like I said before, you know, it's been proven to help release cortisol, and it's also been proven to help shrink or even eliminate tumors, which is causing the problem to begin with. So it's a really great option possibly to not only help the symptoms, but maybe even the actual problem.
Right. Because it's shrinking a tumor. So when we get rid of the tumor, we have to think, yeah, there's a possibility that everything could pretty much go back to normal. I mean, that's what our immune system's there for, you know, to try to keep us the endocannabinoid system is responsible for homeostasis, but our immune system is there to fight off everything. And then our endocannabinoid system is there to bring us back to balance. So it's possible. we haven't been able to have someone go all the way through. We just found dogs being treated for one thing and their Cushing symptoms going away.
We have Potato. We have one of our own who all her cysts start to fall off and her hair starts to grow back up and her pot belly shrunk and she stopped drinking water and she started to run around.
Ass around.
All 16-year-old Shih Tzu hauling ass. It's been with one eye. It's been really cool. So yeah, Susan, if it's possible, I know you're saying that you wish you could afford it right now. We are doing some good discounts right now, and then we also have an awesome program now where you could pay in installments with no interest. So that's definitely an option, Susan. And give us an email. And I'll make sure to send you a coupon as well, Susan.
And I'm assuming the Pressacid is some sort of
it's a drug. Yeah, it is used to treat for Cushing's. Yeah.
So again, steroidal drugs are good temporary, but not on long-term basis, as they do suppress the immune system. And usually it'll be helping the one thing, but then they'll end up getting sick or something else because their immune system is shot. So it will work with that drug, but it'll also take its place. I'm not supposed to say that, I'm not a vet, but if you need a vet to tell you that, you can have Dr. Zach Pillisoff say that. He's happy to say that to you. I'm not a vet. Anyway, what else did we want to talk about? Arthritis they get. I mean, I know it's got to be more than when dogs get it. There's an injury and they're keeping on it, and the next thing you know, they're not using it. I gotta say, it's got to be beautiful for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, arthritis, like how I view arthritis, is a lot of times if a joint is not functioning how it's supposed to, and the body picks up on that, it's going to start trying to lay down new bone. And so a lot of times, either due to injury or improper movement, we get arthritis. That's one of the big kind of causes. So a lot of times once we get it, it's how do we deal with it? And so that's where CBD is beautiful, because we can start with that. And a lot of times they don't need to go on to something else, it's just, and it will, I think it's going to help with the nervous system, where we can, the body is going to become more vigilant of the joints and then possibly prevent more arthritis from forming.
Right. More damage.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is it's keeping them pain-free and comfortable.
Right.
I mean, that's like always my number one thing. It's like the goal is, of course, to get rid of as much as we can of the actual problem, but the most important thing is quality of life and making sure that they're comfortable and pain-free, and CBD does that. I mentioned this last week, but in humans, there's been studies going around states that have medical or recreational marijuana, CBD around, have far less incidence with opioid overdoses and just opioid use, because it can and should replace them completely.
That's why it's been kept from us. It's a plant that grows out of the ground, and the flower has all these amazing medicinal uses, but it will take the place of most of these prescription drugs and painkillers. So you can imagine those big pharmaceutical companies, even in the animal side, well, guess what? They're the same ones on the human side, the Bayers and all of them. But they don't want that to happen. And if it is going to happen, then they're going to try to get their foot in it before the whole world knows about it, and it becomes, marijuana becomes federally legal, which might happen soon.
Will happen.
And then we're going to teach you how to use THC with your horse.
Yay!
Because I'm sure there's some cancers that we would want to add THC to really help. Just like do horses get osteosarcoma? I mean, he can get it.
Not as common. I've seen some weird things like on the sinuses in the head. They'll get some weird growths, but
So it's something that I think THC would work on horses too. It's almost like horses are easier than dogs, because dogs we know have more receptors. So dogs, we were much more have to be careful. We don't want them to get too much. Horses to me are easy. It's like, I don't know, maybe back in the day they could go to hemp fields and actually eat the flowers and leaves, and that's why they're reacting to it so well. I think they know that it's a natural plant, so they're very open to it. They're so smart. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's thrilling. It's thrilling how fast it will help a horse.
Yeah. Well, we know with wild horses, when they're out in the plains, they're going to travel to different areas for different medicinal plants and soil too. Yep. So they know where different soil has different minerals. So they'll go and eat. They'll go and drink out of glacier, like when the snow packs melt and it pulls all the mineral down, they'll go and they'll eat mud. And so when it comes to CBD, if they are like biting your hand off for it, they
know.
Yeah.
And just for clarification, our products do have at least that 0.3% THC in it to make it a full spectrum product. It's very important to make the medicine as effective as possible. And there have been 0 deaths in the history of the world with any living creature taking any sort of cannabis. So
yeah, I mean, we're already talking about people about getting hemp into our agricultural system. So even animals that are used for feed are relaxed and happy and not suffering from some of the things that they have to suffer from. But again, like we said in the beginning, these are animals that should be running free, eating what they know they should eat. And instead, they're usually in, a small space and not living naturally. So to me, they need something like this like crazy. A cribbing is one of the biggest, complaints we get, and that's a bored horse. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, it can be. It can be a learned behavior too. If they're watching other horses, definitely a learned thing. I think, yeah, just like people, I think it can be a nervous tick for them. It's how they are almost self-stimulating themselves.
Right.
Something to do. We get stall weavers too, cribbers, stall weavers. There's some horses that will scrape teeth up at the top of the stall even. So it's like, how do we break that cycle and create new behaviors? So we just add it. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Do we have any other questions from anyone?
No, if anybody has any questions, this is your last chance. And if you haven't signed up for our email and shared this to get your free bottle of CBD for horses, make sure you do. Sarah, do you want to say anything? How can people find you?
Hi, Anita. Hi, Cece. Hi, Sylvia. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Anne-Marie.
So I think they listed, I have a website. So my practice is called Enabled Integrative Veterinarian Services. So you can, if you type my name in and then look up like enabled, I'm sure it's going to pop up.
Yeah. And we'll post it again as well.
Yeah. So you can reach me through there, email, phone, my phone number listed. I get text messages too. So I'm in the Pennsylvania area, but looking to travel.
And you also do telemedicine. So if someone wants a consult and talk to you and all that, you're available for that also. Awesome. Yep. Yay. So now you get to talk to your favorite vets about your animal, which I think it's a beautiful time to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And to be able to give them something that's all natural that's going to help them. So
Yay,
horses!
Yay!
I don't know if I'll ever get horses, but I'm gonna get donkeys for sure. But never. Every time I say I didn't say never, I'll end up with one.
And next week on Monday on Cannabis Radio, Angela's podcast, we actually have Sarah Urban chatting with Angie a little bit more extensively about CBD for horses and her experience.
It's a dog's life. It's on anywhere you can listen to a podcast. It's on there.
Yes, Susan, you gotta. We put there the email sign up, and then you just got to share this once, and then you are entered for a chance to win.
I love donkeys too, Sylvia. All right. Well, if we don't have any questions, thank you, Dr. Sarah Urban, again, so much for joining us and sharing your brain with us. We appreciate it so much.
And we're going to see you so soon, like actually see you in person.
Yep.
We'll be complaining about the heat, hopefully.
I know that I will never do that.
I'm the same. I'm the same as you.
Well, I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.
See ya.
God, I love it. We're still live, just letting you know.
I thought we were saying bye to everybody.
Oh, no, we were just saying bye to Sarah Urban. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, share, enter for a chance to win a free bottle of one of our tinctures. And we will be here next week. It's going to be Angela Ardolino and our education director, Carter Eastler, coming to you from San Diego, talking all about skin issues in all animals, specifically dogs. Tumors,
The biggest
hot spots,
organ.
the biggest organ. Some of the biggest successes we've had.
And the biggest successes. That is true.
And something that you told me that shocks me is that the number one reason pets get put down is because of allergies and these allergies.
I just heard a story today about a vet who put a dog down because he went like this and pulled something, and so was like staying like this, and the dog put him down.
The dog put him down?
I mean, I wish. The vet put him down. And it's like, this is a chiropractic adjustment and CBD fixed. So we got to remember our dogs are a lot like us and suffer from the same things as we do. So trust your gut. We know a lot. Do your research. Find an awesome holistic vet. And if you need help, we'll tell you where one is or a couple are.
Yeah, and we'll also post our consultations with Angela Orlino and our amazing veterinarian chief officer, Dr. Zach Pilosoff. So if you are looking for help, go there. Thank you guys so much. Happy
Appreciate
Friday.
you guys. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. How do I end this? I always forget. End.